This is the ball that brings passion to millions of people. It does not matter how old you are, but the ball makes the world stop every 4 years. Football reached Argentina by the late 1800s. This was a sport brought into the country by the English that during that time were the owners of the railway system in Argentina. By 1893, Argentina already started a league. This is the reason why many clubs have English names. In that same year, Alexander Watson Hutton, a high school teacher from Scotland, became the first president of football in Argentina. He is considered the father of football. The oldest club in Argentina is Club Mercedes, located in Mercedes, in the outskirts of the capital. The club was established on May 12, 1875. This club currently plays in the 4th division. By 1931, football turned professional in Argentina. This move was to improve the quality of the game and legislate and improve the contract of players. The first champion in the professional era was River Plate. By the 1940s, football in Argentina was a force to be dealt with. The capacity of fans that a stadium could host were in the low thousands. Most of the stadiums were small and had areas behind the goal for people to watch the game from there. Before I continue, I need to clarify that football clubs in Argentina are not in private hands. The clubs belongs to the members. Members vote for a president to run the club. But it does not stop here. Football clubs are also social clubs. Within the club there are other activities beside football, like volleyball, basketball, tennis, boxing, and many others. Footballs were expensive. They were made out of leather and stitched. Inside they had a camera, and if the ball got wet, it was very painful. Cleats were also very expensive, and they were difficult to walk on them on hard ground. Cleats couldn't be changed like nowadays. By the 1950s, a company came out with rubber balls of all sizes. They were good and cheap, and they became famous right away. This company is still selling these balls today. By the 1970s, a new company started to create cleats that were not expensive. They had 2 types. One of them had rubber cleats, while the other one had metal cleats. Argentinian football is actually based on neighborhood teams. In some cases, you can have a team, and across the street you have the rival. This is very normal, and this is something that is very similar to football almost everywhere. Rivalry in Argentinian football is basically a neighborhood rivalry. Even if a team moves from the neighborhood, that rivalry will continue. In 1978, Argentina held the first World Cup in its history, and they won it. During that time, football teams were put on the back burner. After winning the World Cup, a great celebration started all across the country. People were happy, horns honking, flags waving, and people having the time of their lives. Many players came from very humble backgrounds. Their only way out was to become a professional football player. Most of them made it and had a great career, but others had a hard time. Slum football is football without rules. Here, players need to learn many things, like control of the ball, getting kicked at, how to use your body, and finally learn how to cheat. This was the first training ground for any want-to-be football player. Mexico, 86. Here is where Argentina won its second World Cup. In this World Cup, there was a man that did magic with the ball. The world already knew him, but what they did not know is how much more he can do. Nobody in Argentina liked this team. Before the World Cup, this same team lost many matches, and that made people angry. Little did they know that they would become world champions. There was one game that was the most important one of all, and that was against England. 4 years before this game, England and Argentina went to war. The Malvinas War was something that was in all of the players' mind. This was the game that they played not for themselves, but for all of those Argentinian soldiers that lost their lives. The game between Argentina and England was a gentleman's game, There was no mayhem as what the press at that time wanted it to be. But when you have Maradona on your team, you will never know what may happen. And then it happened. Slum football appeared. Maradona's hand of God, as he named it. The whole English team went to the ref to complain, but with no avail. In the beginning of the second half, once again slum football appeared. This time Maradona made the best goal in history, and the world, including the English, dropped on their knees. After the final game with Germany, Argentina won its second World Cup, thanks to Maradona's slum football skills and a team that backed him up in everything. A year later, a little boy from Rosario was born. This little boy will take the football world by storm. Celebrations were wild. Hundreds and thousands of people went to the streets to celebrate, and Maradona was the hero of the country. Coaches came and went, but no World Cup in hand, and being second does not count. After the 2018 World Cup, a new coach was named. He did play for the national team and was a good football player. People did not like him, and the press hated him. But this man will make Argentina their third World Cup. World Cup Qatar and Argentina fans took this country by storm. Argentina took the colors and the fun to the stadiums and the streets of Qatar. Argentina fans hit the streets and to the stadiums hours before the game actually started. Fans in this World Cup were going to be different, and the whole world will notice. In every game that Argentina played, fans took over the stadium, cheering non-stop. This was not normal. This never happened in any of the World Cup. Argentina fans were like making a statement. We are here. Even though Argentina was playing good, they needed a win. The game with Mexico was crucial. They had to win. And they did. Messi opened the score and a second goal came moments later. Let's fast forward to the final match. Argentina versus France. It was the best match of the World Cup history, and it wasn't for the weak-hearted. By the end of the 120 minutes, there were penalty shootouts. Argentina had a goalkeeper that was really good in that field, and he showed that in previous matches. And the Argentinian goalkeeper that nobody knew before this World Cup became a national hero for millions of people. Gonzalo Montiel's turn. If he makes the goal, Argentina would be world champions. A radio host in Argentina said, "We are all Montiel." He shoots and scored. And a nation will tango all night long. And yes, that little boy from Rosario won everything that there is to win. He has nothing else to win. He is sainted in the Hall of Fame of Argentinian football players of all times. A group of men mixed with boys gave their country that was in need of something good to happen, and they were the ones in charge of giving that glory to them. Meanwhile, back in Argentina, all hell broke loose. People took the streets by storm. Everybody was celebrating like there was no tomorrow. Everywhere you went in the capital, there was crowds of people that I have never seen before. There were over 5 million people in the city center on that day. This never happened in World Cup history. Argentina made another record which will be very difficult to beat. There was no crime at all. People of all walks of life hugged each other, and they did not care what team you were a fan of. The first thing is that you and me are both Argentinian. Many months had to pass before football went back to normal. People were still in a World Cup mode. But now football had to come back to earth. Teams went back in doing what they needed to do, and World Cup madness slowly started to fade away. But team madness just started, and some teams overdid it a little, just a little. This round ball that weighs roughly 450 grams and makes 22 guys run after it is as mystical as any other things humans do and like. This is why football is not a sport, but a religion. We have reached the end of the video. I hope you liked it. Please share and like. It helps me a lot. Thank you all for watching, and until the next time.